Oh, goody.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Zombies here again, and today we have another heroic bounty guide for you. This one is going to be covering the heroic Dragonebone Golem fight, and much like our first heroic bounty here, Fire Comp just absolutely wrecks this whole bounty. Like, it is probably the fastest, if not one of the fastest, to get through the bounty, and it just completely destroys the boss, as the boss summons a lot of reds, and with Baron we just blow them up before they can do anything. So pretty much the exact same thing as last time. However, since we don't need 2 slots in the back, since there's only 1 mercenary getting an item from this, we are actually able to throw Cookie in the back here just for a little bit of insurance with the extra health. But you can kind of run whatever you want in the back line. You know, it's nice to have an additional fire unit, which is why I have Chi-Ji. You could throw an Antonitis, Onyxia, whoever really. One of the new mercenaries, if you just want to level them up, you really only need the fire comp to get through this bounty. And as always, you do need Kazakus in your party if you do want to get the item unlocked for him. So for clearing the bounty, we are using Ragnaros with Blazing Rune, extra fire damage, Belinda with her water elemental, but fire elemental is also fine if you want to use that, and Geddon with Mark of Conflagration for the big AoE damage. Like I mentioned, Chi-Ji's kind of a flex slot. You need Kazakus for the bounty reward, and Cookie is just some nice extra health, but we don't actually use any of these 3 really. So that is the comp. We are going to get into the bounty here. Before we do, if you enjoy the content, do remember to like and subscribe. Helps out the channel a lot, keeps the Mercs videos coming. Without further ado, let's get into the bounty. Alright, so much like the first bounty, this one's actually really easy. I'd actually say this one might even be easier than the first one. But yeah, this one, basic strategy, you're just using your fire comp to get through things here. They clean up pretty much all the easy fights, no problem, even on heroic. And yeah, so you just want to focus getting the fire buffs if you can along the way, as that will help you clear the boss faster. But other than that, none of the other buffs matter a whole ton. I do get a speed buff on Belinda, which is actually pretty convenient sometimes for just speeding up her AoE and scaling the fire damage before Geddon gets to go off. But it's definitely not required. This is definitely a bounty you can do without getting any good treasures for sure. And this is actually one of the fastest bounties, I think, heroic-wise anyway, of the new content that I have seen. Like, it didn't even take me like 10 minutes to do this one, which was rather surprising, because usually in the past, it definitely has taken a little bit longer to do some of these. And you actually, like with Alderac Valley, you really had to think through these fights sometimes. This one, not so much. I don't know if it's just because the units aren't quite as powerful, or maybe some of the later heroics will be a little bit more difficult. But to me, it feels like these are a lot easier than the Alterac Valley fights getting up to the boss, which were honestly the harder part of some of those Alterac Valley fights. So maybe this is a result of them realizing, hey, if we're going to be locking heroic items behind these things, we do need to make them a little bit more easy for people to clear so everyone can kind of access them. Not sure about that, but kind of seems like logic that would make sense. I imagine we are going to eventually get like a legendary mode or a harder mode for people who want a real challenge and stuff. And yeah, so we'll probably see that eventually, but it's Mercenaries. Who knows when we're going to actually get something like that in the game. But I think we only got one more fight here, and then we will be at the boss. Even the heroics here aren't that hard. You can see I actually had Kazakus out here. Basically, with any of these ones where I see like 3 of a unit, I'm usually a little weary of throwing out a unit of the opposite color because I don't want them to get focused down, especially if I don't have access to a spirit healer. So don't be afraid to throw out your Chi-Ji or throw out whatever merc you have in the back in place of Baron Geddon if you do want to make sure that he doesn't accidentally die right before the fight. It's not 100% necessary, but it is a little precaution to save yourself some time in case that does end up happening. But this is going to be the last fight here, and now we are going to get into the boss. Alright, and we have made it to the boss here. This one kind of summons a bunch of ads. So we see a skeletal flyer here, deal 10 damage to an enemy when it dies. This dude's going to be summoning a bunch of them, and he also gets some health whenever a character dies. And this one is going to buff up their characters when it dies, but we don't really have to worry about it too much. Fire comp should just give us a really easy time here. We didn't even get like super, I mean, we got okay treasures. We got the fire one like twice at the very end, but before that, pretty much all our treasures were useless. But I don't think this should be a hard fight regardless. We're just gonna focus down boss here pretty much, AoE things, and it should be pretty easy. So yeah, these ones are a lot easier than Alterac Valley Heroics, in my opinion. Yeah, so Baron Geddon's going to be cleaning up. Obviously, we're going to be taking a fair bit of damage from that, but it's not really going to be enough to really mess us up too much. We can actually scale up our fire damage even more, which is really sweet. And they swing in there, but no big deal. They give us random death rattles, but we don't really care about that. It's not going to make a difference here. Baron Geddon will just finish it off. And that will be the bounty. So yeah, these heroics so far really haven't been that bad at all. Fire comp just absolutely destroys them. It's not even close. So get some more summons, but Baron Geddon doesn't care about your summons. He's just gonna AoE the whole board and blow everything up. And that's the bounty. So we'll get our reward here. And this one is the Kazakus item. I think Kazakus is actually one of, if not the best, new mercenary out of the bunch, even though most of them are all rather cool and powerful. And we got some useful coins there. Kazakus and Drek'Thar, always nice to see. And boom, there we go. We get the King's Blood passive for Kazakus. So that is going to do it for this heroic bounty guide. If you enjoyed it, do remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.